Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Buddies on Buddies, the show with two real life buddies talking about buddy action comedy movies. I'm Kenny Lane.
I'm Lucas Hill.
Buddies on Buddies show, back again.
Yep, back again.
I got some news. I got engaged. Hey, Megan and I getting married here.
That's
For all you
exciting.
long time listeners.
How did you pop the question?
Oh, I did it at the Seaside Aquarium in front of the seals. Yeah. That's one of our favorite places to go. She loves the seals. So did it right there. Got down one knee and everything.
Did she hesitate or was it an immediate yes?
She thought about it for about a half an hour. I think it was like, going back and forth pacing and threw up a couple times, but she eventually said yes. So that's good.
That's good. Can't argue with the results.
Nope. She said yes. And now she's stuck. So
Well, congratulations.
thank you.
Are you going to do a traditional wedding? Have you guys decided?
Still in the early stages. We want kind of a traditional one. Yeah. We're not going to do, probably a Vegas thing or something like that. We kind of want a, traditional one.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. How about you? What are you up to?
Probably should have let me go first, don't you think?
Follow that.
Because I ain't up to jack or shit, my friend. Jack left town. Isn't that the same they used to say in the 80s?
Yeah. Army of Darkness or something. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's it. You ain't jack shit and Jack left town or something like that.
The only
No,
thing you're winning is Jack and shit, and Jack left town. Yeah, I think
right.
that's actually good.
No, life is just moving forward at a glacial pace.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look back, you're like, wow, it's going by really fast.
Every year it's faster and faster. It's
Yeah.
a little nuts. You can't believe we're in 2024 already.
Yeah. How old are you expecting to make it?
Oh, I gave up on making it a long time ago. I'm just
No,
basically
no. How long do you plan on living till?
45 at least, going out a hail of gunfire,
Yeah.
Butch Cassidy style. Yeah, sure.
Well, we're buddies on buddies. We review buddy action comedy movies. And this week we got we got one.
We have something. Yeah.
Red Heat, starring
Red
Arnold
Heat.
Schwarzenegger and Jim Belushi.
Yeah, from 1988, Kralko and TriStar Pictures release, written and directed by Walter Hill.
He's popped up on this list before.
Yes, he has. We love Walter Hill.
Yeah. Before we get into our thoughts on Red Heat, did you see anything worth mentioning?
Well, the little theater we have here on the peninsula up in Washington, it shows two movies, per weekend, basically. And I had the choice of going to see Dune 2 or Kung Fu Panda 4. Which one do you think I saw?
Kung Fu Panda 4.
Fucking A, I did. Dune fucking sucks. Fuck you guys. All you fucking people that love Dune. You're fucking idiots. Fuck you.
Okay.
I was never a big fan of the first Dune movie that came out a couple of years ago. I kind of like the David Lynch one because it's so fucking weird. Even the book, I read it. I was kind of bored. So, not my thing, I guess.
Yeah, I heard tell that you had to see it on IMAX, and it's quite the visual feast. He's a great director. I mean, you're not saying Dennis.
I think he's a good director. I think he's made some good movies. I'm not a big Villeneuve, whatever the hell you say his name. I'm not a big acolyte, but yeah, I think he's a good director. Yeah.
Well, let's get right to it. What did you think of Kung Fu Panda 4?
4, finally. I can't wait to get into it. Nah, it's like one of those movies that's not even fucking worth reviewing. It's just like that Zach Galifianakis joke where he's like, I saw Miss Congeniality 2. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. That's kind of how, like, Kung Fu Panda 4, you know what you're going to see. Yeah. It's fine. It's a kid's movie. It's got kind of cute, kind of funny, and then you immediately forget about it. So whatever.
It's a product at that point when you're on the fourth one, I
mean, I'd rather sit through it than a bunch of other kids kind of movies that are out and stuff because I like Jack Black, I like Kung Fu, and that kind of thing. So it's all right, but like I said, it's not even really worth reviewing as far as like why.
Well, why would an adult go to a movie like that when Dune 2's available?
We love going to the theater, the whole theatrical experience. I did start a clap at the end of it when it was over, and the whole audience, was a Friday night, a lot of kids and parents and shit, and everyone else started clapping, and that was pretty funny. That was probably my favorite part of the movie.
That's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
You should have had a really dark movie with a dark ending.
Woohoo! Requiem for a Dream or something. Ow! How about you? Did you see anything?
Rewatch the original Roadhouse. That's one that comes to mind.
Oh yeah, classic. Are you? What'd you think of the original? We watched that together, didn't we? We had to.
I'm sure I remember most of the major beats, so I don't know it intimately, but the only thing I can't get out of my mind from watching it is when Sam Elliott stands up and almost hangs hog. He like pulls down his pants to show a scar, and his pubes are there and everything. To Patrick Swayze's,
That's the one image you took from the movie.
I just was so shocking because it was he does it to Patrick Swayze's girlfriend right in front of him. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they slow dance for a long time, and he's totally like hitting on her. Very weird. But other than that, the movie's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's the only weird thing in that movie. There's not a bunch of other fucking weird, crazy shit in that movie. That is a real out there, like, I think it gets so nuts with the shit. You know, it's like what drive-in movie classic. And I am going to probably watch the remake this weekend on Prime, but I am not. I don't dig the whole Roadhouse remake with Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, it's like saying like, hey, they're gonna remake, Predator with Channing Tatum. It's like, okay, fine.
Well, Doug Liman's a good director for the most part. He's had some misses, and it's also Gyllenhaal and Swayze were in. He was a fan of Swayze. He was in. They were in Donnie Darko together. Like
Sure,
he grew up on Roadhouse, so
and Roadhouse is action movie, Point Break and stuff. Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure it's fucking gonna be stupid but fun. But I'll watch it. It's on Amazon, so
it's on Amazon. It's like, yeah, you just click on it and don't go anywhere. I'm kind of interested in seeing Conor McGregor as the heavy, seeing his thespian skills, I guess. So
I really don't like Conor McGregor.
I'm not. Well, you're not alone in that, But anyway, like I'll watch it, but I have very, very low expectation. I think that director Doug Liman, who did like the Bourne, movies and stuff, I think he even said it's like a piece of shit or something.
No, he got upset because they didn't get a theatrical release. That's why he was shitting on the movie. He's proud of the movie and he wants it to go theatrical.
Okay.
A lot of these guys lose a lot of money because they get points, and if they don't get theatrical, I know they pretend it's the art, but it's because they're losing a shit ton of money by not getting points. So when you make this audience pleasing movie that would do well in theatrically, which it probably would if it released right now, he's losing millions of dollars. So I'd be upset too.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, it's like the Point Break remake. I think it's going to be okay and then immediately forgettable, because part of the reason Point Break or Roadhouse works as a classic cult kind of B movie is that because it gets so weird and crazy at times, and I don't know how to replicate that. I don't know.
Gyllenhaal is a great actor though, so he elevates just as a normal remake status.
He's okay. I don't know. He's not one of my favorites. He's in a lot of great movies. He's a good actor. I've liked him in like Nocturnal Animals and some movies. Like, he's a good performance, but like I just don't think it's like, I don't know. I guess also nostalgia. Patrick Swayze, watching all those movies as a kid, and stuff. He's like the Swayze Express. I call him, like, oh come on, Jake Gyllenhaal, like what? But anyway, I'm probably putting Swayze on a pedestal for.
Yeah, you are rewatching Roadhouse. I was like, why was this guy a big movie star? I mean, he's
fucking the best, man. Like Swayze, Red Dawn, fucking, all these movies.
I know his resume. I grew up on him too, but it's just like watching as an older person, like going like, does he have it? I don't think he.
It's like, I think he has it, man. I think Swayze had it, man.
He's like doing Tai Chi and fucking reading philosophy and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, he was like a Renaissance man. Like, he was like a chef, and he flew planes. He rode horses. He's a big ballet guy, dancer. So he's kind of like a Renaissance guy. So I dig that.
No, I'm not shitting on Patrick Swayze. I just think he's an interesting movie star. It's just weird, but there's a lot of them. So
yeah, but that part of Roadhouse works because it is so fucking weird. And he plays it so straight.
Yeah, there's on his trailer that just dropped, and they were talking about the weirdness of it is how there's this world of people. We're talking way too much about Roadhouse, but
yeah, but it's important though. I'm really like, we're talking about this.
Like everybody knows all the bouncers. Like, this is a world where bouncers are like almost famous.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking weird.
Yeah, I heard you were a great bouncer out of St. Louis. Who the fuck knows bouncers? Are there stats? Are there baseball or bouncer cards? Like what?
I hope the remake really leans into that. But the remake already takes a hit because he's a famous retired MMA boxer or fighter.
Yeah, this is not I can totally gather from the trailer, they're not going for a straight remake. It's like a reimagining or something. It's gonna be a totally different story, and they'll probably sprinkle in some fan service and like quotes from the original and shit. And I don't really like that fan service stuff, and I don't know. So we'll see.
And that's our review of Red Heat. What are we watching next week?
A pre-review of Roadhouse that we haven't seen yet.
Let's get on to Red Heat. Now,
Red Heat.
What is your familiarity with Red Heat?
Well, I don't know if I actually watched it. I remember the poster for it at the pizza place that when I was a kid, like 6, and like looking up and seeing like the James Belushi and Schwarzenegger back to back, look, and thinking, oh yeah, that looks like a good movie. I don't think I ever saw it till I got to like college. I was just watching all the Schwarzenegger shit. I remember it being not very good. How about you? What was your history of Red Heat?
It was like my new stepdad had a bunch of VHSs, and that was one of them. And I'd throw it in every now and then. I don't think I ever got through it because at that age I just thought it was way too serious and weird of a movie. It's not as accessible as some of the other movies we grew up in the 80s that are hard R's.
Yeah,
there's subtitles for one. It's darker at times. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a weird accent. So I was familiar, but watching it now, like I only remembered like the cocaine leg thing and like
that was the one moment I remember too. The cocaine, just cocaine coming out of the fake leg. Yeah.
So I would say I came into this one pretty fresh.
I would say it's probably been 15, 20 years at least since I watched it, so I remember a lot of, scenes, but I don't remember exactly how it goes at all or something.
Yeah. And what did you think about it generally on your rewatch?
This time it was better than I thought it would be. It was better than I remembered. Maybe it's because I've been watching a lot of these kind of movies, and I like I'm more of a Walter Hill, kind of fan. I've seen more of his stuff. So I liked it a lot more than I did, but I still wouldn't put it up there in like Schwarzenegger's best movies or top 5 or maybe even 10, kind of thing. I think it's kind of middle tier. Like it's better than like his stuff from that era, like a Raw Deal or something, but it's not as fun as something like Commando or something or Running Man. So it's kind of right in the middle. It's got a lot of stuff going for it, but also has a lot of stuff kind of holding it back. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very kind of middle of the road. It's better than a lot of the stuff we watch here. The production value is nuts.
Yeah.
There are good elements to it, but yeah, I have notes.
Go for it. Start the notes.
First of all, what a cast!
A lot of good like supporting cast. Well, we're talking about we got like Peter Boyle and Larry Fishburne in it, and kind of throwaway roles. But what did you think about the villain, Edo Ross?
Yeah, I've seen him in a shit ton of things, but usually plays a villain or a henchman. He's never been a lead man.
A small part in Lethal Weapon. Yeah.
What's that?
A small part in Lethal Weapon. Yeah.
Yeah. So very familiar face. I thought he was very intimidating. He
looks very Georgian too. It seems like I think it looks like a foreigner. I think he's American, but he does feel like a foreigner for some reason.
No, he pulls it off. I didn't think twice. Yeah. Gina Gershon shows up.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And then a handful of character actors pop up. I don't know if you noticed them. Like, I know that guy. I know that guy. Like there was one detective who was like in a shit ton of things. Who just has one quick scene where he says
one line.
Yeah.
I probably see him. I'd recognize him and forget. But
yeah. Oh yeah, you'd recognize him. I should have researched him. My main problem with the movie is I do not like Jim Belushi at all. And I know we've talked about this before. I don't think he's funny. He's an okay actor, but he is not a comedic force to carry anything.
Well, let's get right into the meat of this movie with Jim Belushi, because I, as you know, am a Jim Belushi defender, apologist. I dug Real Men that we watched, and I like the movie Mr. Destiny and stuff. I would say the movie's biggest flaw is Jim Belushi in this movie, even though he is not miscast. He's fine.
Chicago Cop. Yeah, it's
Chicago Cop. That's what he fucking plays, or that's what he should play. His humor, his jokes, if you can call them jokes, aren't funny. I think it would even be a stretch to call this movie a comedy because how serious it takes itself. One, and it's just he's the comic relief, and he's just not funny at all. So I don't know. Did you really? I mean, they were going for comedy, but with his shtick. But did you? Yeah, it fell flat. Totally.
It felt like the script didn't have humor in it, and they just put him on set and goes, "Be funny, and you'll be the humor." And
yeah,
that was a mistake, man.
Yeah,
he's not Eddie Murphy,
Yeah. what's that one? I lost money on Marvin. Whatever. That was his
Hagler,
big.
yeah.
Hagler, yeah, that's his big joke, and I was like, "That's the joke."
Well,
Okay, and then you tell it was like a big payoff.
and then he calls him, "You look like Gumby."
The
Okay.
whole movie keeps hitting that again.
It's like, is that all you had? And they just had to run it into the ground because it's
Because
all
he's wearing a green suit and
Yeah.
his haircut, I guess, a little bit, but like he's tall, but that's yeah. I mean, they hit that like 3 times.
It's not just his fault though, because Schwarzenegger's too stiff in this. It's part of his character, but he's way too stiff. There's nothing to play off. There's nothing to his character. So
I okay.
one note, and they have no chemistry because of that. They have zero chemistry.
Well, actually, I kind of dug Schwarzenegger's performance in this because I thought that Walter Hill actually like really tailored this to him because like this is kind of his like he's not doing wink wink commando things. He's supposed to be a Russian, and at the time, I thought he was he's this like robotic fucking patriot kind of guy, and has no sense of humor, and doesn't want to talk to anybody. So actually, and he has an accent, even though his Austrian accent, Russian accent with American audience, I don't know if they could really tell the difference at the time anyway, but I think so. I think this was for Schwarzenegger characters go. I thought this was one of his better characters. It was kind of tailored for him.
Yeah, fine, but there's nothing to it. Like we learned nothing about this guy. And
not much. Well, that's what we thought of Russia. Is they have one fucking they're page. There's on a mission, and that's it.
Yeah, he's basically the Terminator.
Yeah.
Mary even like started at the beginning. He's like, "Oh, does he play a robot in this?" Like, no, Terminator movies, but she's not too wrong because he is very robotic.
Very robotic. But I think that was kind of the point of it, or I think that was intentional anyway. If it worked or not, I think that was kind of like what they were going for.
Well, it worked against it because Jim Belushi, for as shitty as he is, has no one to play off of. So it was the little dog jumping over the big dog.
Well, it's a straight man, the guy to bounce off of. I mean, that's what I think. I just think Jim Belushi just wasn't good, or just didn't. His lines weren't funny or something. Because like I think there could have been stuff to mine from there.
You know where Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte work well? When Nick Nolte's basically the tough, quiet type, is Nick Nolte can kick his ass anytime he wants. Whereas Jim Belushi's character is a little too tough. If you were more of a pussy,
his character gonna kick his ass.
No, so. But if he were a little bit more of a pussy and not so strong, scared of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think that would have been more endearing dynamic than what we have, which is.
I don't know. I don't know if I get the comparison because I mean Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte fight it out in 48 hours, and it's not just a one-sided fight.
Yeah, it's like Nick Nolte's the tough guy in that. I don't think that's a question, and he's more of the wily, squirrely one.
I guess so, but I don't know. It's just like it should have been. I didn't mind the dynamic between the buddies in this one, as far as like the arc or whatever, because it's like a lot of these ones, like they start out, they don't like each other, they grow to mutual respect, by the end they're friends. But this one, yeah, it's like I thought that kind of worked, or seemed to do, but it's just their chemistry. Something was just not hitting. I don't know.
I disagree. I didn't feel any chemistry. I didn't feel any buddies with them. They probably had the worst chemistry out of any buddies we've seen. I
really
probably thinking of another buddy pair we've reviewed that had worse chemistry, and I'm not coming up with nothing.
Oh, there's a lot. I think like Kevin Hart, Woody Harrelson, man from Toronto. There's been a bunch. I think a handful of ones that I thought they had nothing. This one I thought they had kind of something, but it's kind of like a worse version of Tom Arnold and Schwarzenegger in True Lies or something, where Tom Arnold actually was funny and bit of pop and stuff. Yeah.
Even mentioning that's ridiculous because their chemistry was amazing.
Maybe I'm saying it was a lot better. I'm saying it was like not as
maybe
good.
They could have just used a slow scene where Schwarzenegger goes to his house and they, have dinner with his elderly mom or something. Anything to humanize them a little bit. Because we don't learn anything about Jim Belushi or Schwarzenegger. They're just nothing caricatures.
That's what I think. The plot of this movie actually is not a bad plotted movie. I was kind of into it as far as some of these things go. I was actually following it and kind of, some things didn't quite make sense. But I think you're right. Like they could have used some character moments in here to kind of make you root for these guys, because both of them, and we've talked about this a lot with certain movies like Bad Boys or Freeing the Bean. These guys are fucking fascists, and this actually we kind of comments on that where they're both like, yeah, we should just take drug dealers out and shoot them in the head like China, and they're like, so I thought we could have used some character work here, and maybe they cut it down for time, or I don't know what, but yeah, definitely it was missing some sort of human investment or something.
Moving on from that, it's very loud with distracting sound editing. you know, where the punches are just distractingly.
That was hilarious. The opening scene. What did you think of the opening scene in the fucking like Russian sauna where everyone's naked and like also a fucking brawl fly out the window and shit?
It doesn't work because you can. It's like the ending too, where they're racing in buses. Like that's an idea for a set piece, but you didn't do anything with it. You know, you just walked out on set and did your thing, but there's nothing creatively being done aside from two guys fighting in the snow. Okay.
Right. Well, it's a sort of a set piece with the sauna. They're kind of putting it in an interesting kind of location, but then they fly out the window, you know. But
they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, I would say that I noticed because you talk a lot about set pieces. I wouldn't tell you like that fight in the snow in the earlier what you were saying. Like the fucking sound effects are fucking crazy. The punches. I noticed the first couple seasons of Sopranos do that too. The punches are being fucking crazy, fucking loud. But as far as comedies go, I think we talked about this. Like there was. Is there any comedic set piece in this movie? No. I think it's all just banter or like the banter.
There was no comedic set pieces at all. There weren't action set pieces really. It was just that's kind of what I mean. A lot of things hurt this movie. But those are, and as you were talking about, the political themes are a little confusing because they just want to like kill people and shit, but then they're like railing against how underdog the cops are because they don't let us kill people. Very weird.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like that they actually commented on that or like brought that to the forefront where a lot of these movies you're supposed to go with it and they don't even like say that's what they're doing, that's what they want to do. So I thought it was a little maybe more self-conscious or just, you know, or not some kind of maybe just more, you know, aware or something of what's going on here than a lot of these movies are. I think the script is actually more intelligent than a lot of like Arnold's and stuff, like even Jim Belushi's movies were back in the day. I think it's probably due to Walter Hill.
Yeah, well, crime was bigger in the 80s, so it was a bigger hot button topic. So they were saying basically that lawyers are assholes. Like, we can't do anything because lawyers will get them off. We can't touch them because lawyers will get them off. We can't. That's cops. It's cops. That's why crime's going crazy. Because
that's the old Dirty Harry, Charles Bronson type, you know, Death Wish shit. I mean, that's kind of tired. What I did like though is like when they would talk about their kind of philosophies, or when Schwarzenegger goes and visits the head of the clean heads or whatever in prison, and he goes into his kind of thing. That character getting a little like third dimension and talking about why he's doing what he's doing. It gets a little more weight or something as about what all their intentions are and what they're doing. I thought that was kind of interesting.
They take his gun and kick him off the case. Always fun when we see that.
Yeah.
The only quoted line I have is "You are a stupid."
You are a stupid. Yeah, it's like to Gina Gershon, I think, and then hits the door. Well, what you said about Peter Boyle, though, I thought he was a little more, slightly more interesting. You know, there's a lot of screen time as a captain, like showing him the fish, stuff, and like, so this is how we relax. It's all setting up just that joke about what do we, you know, how do you guys in Russia relax? You know, vodka,
but still gives at least that character a little something, you know, because he has that pressure and
instead of just the screaming captain like yanking them off the case and taking their badges and shit. Yeah.
Plus, it's just great to see Peter Boyle. Big fan.
Yeah. I was watching it with Megan, and she says, "Now that's a guy that looks bad bald." That was her, you know. And I kind of no offense, Peter Boyle. You know, fans love Peter Boyle, but I think that was somehow I was, you know, roped into that somehow. You know, or you know, probably about me.
So you mean it made you feel good because you look good bald?
I think I look good bald. That's why I wear a hat.
But, I wear a hat just to keep this tiger mane under control.
Tiger man down. Yeah. No, but but I don't. That was her. Like, she was like, "See, that guy looks really bad bald." That was her like introduction to Peter Boyle. I don't know if she's like recognized him from his great work. You know.
I doubt it. I don't think you watch a lot of Peter Boyle movies. I'm sure you have in the past.
Oh, we watch Joe like at least like, you know, a couple times a year at least.
Sure, Young Frankenstein. He's freaking hilarious in that.
Oh, of course, Young Frankenstein, and as the wizard and Taxi Driver. Peter, we don't need to go through Peter Boyle's things. He's great. Yeah,
he's the dad in Everybody Loves Raymond. He's great in that too. He's really good in that sitcom. Moving on. Another thing the comedy was really relying on is the stilted English. Arnold Schwarzenegger's messing up English phrases like often. That's all. It's that and Belushi working up against a blank wall. It's like impossible. There's nothing funny in this movie.
I'd say like that. Like there's nothing funny in a lot of these movies we watch, but at least I know they're going for humor or something and stuff. But I thought, as far as an action thriller, it kind of worked better than I thought it would work. as a comedy, it's like a fail. But like as just an action kind of thriller movie, I thought it was better than I remembered it or I thought it would be basically.
You're right. I agree. I actually have my next note is no comedic set pieces, but I do agree it works better as an action movie, even though I didn't like the action. The Chicago setting really worked well.
Yeah.
It does move at a good clip. It's not boring. I can't remember being bored once.
Mhm.
So the pacing's strong. But
Yeah.
And what about this odd choice they had where Arnold gets injured earlier in the movie? So for the entire movie, he has like what looks like a lipstick stain on his mouth.
I even noticed that.
Yeah, he has like this weird lipstick stain. It looks like a lipstick stain, but it's like from his injury from earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Like just move. We don't care. Move on from that. Like now it looks like it looks weird the entire.
Well, a couple of little nitpicky things with the plot and stuff, like when they attack him with batons or something, the clean heads come in and like and then he's just like down for the count and crawling towards the key maybe a little bit. So didn't you just take out like 5 or 6 huge fucking Russian dudes in a sauna barehanded and like something like that? For the plot it has to happen, but still, like.
I have a question for you. How did Victor, the antagonist, he goes in the room and then he breaks his lamp and gets the key? How did he know the key was hidden in a very hard hiding spot in that lamp? Do you remember that?
Megan asked the same thing when that happened. And I told her that hiding your special key in lamps is a Russian thing. And I don't think she bought it. I don't think you're buying it, but that's the explanation I'm giving it. It's a thing in Russia to hide the key in a lamp. Well, also too, can we talk about the key for a second, which is like the MacGuffin of this, movie. Okay, so I was a little confused where like they needs the key because it opens a locker full of money at the bus station. But like they don't know what the key is for, but Victor or whatever he knows what, and he apparently knows where the locker is located, but he needs that key. If he's such a fucking loose cannon, why does he just go down with a crowbar and just fucking yank that open? I don't know why he just need that key so bad.
Yeah, and it's not just this movie; it's in a handful of movies where if it's in a locker, might as well be Fort Knox without that fucking key.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, especially a guy that's so like bound by rules and doesn't want to make a scene or anything, because he definitely doesn't want to make a scene. This Victor guy. So I just thought, why does he even give a fuck about anything? Just go down there. He knows the locker is. Why does he need the key?
I also thought it was weird earlier in the movie where they see him driving and he passes a red light. And then it just cuts to him. We don't even see him get arrested or anything like that. I just thought that was weird. They didn't show his arrests. So that could have been.
Well, they said he got busted on some minor thing. Maybe that was
he runs a red light. They show him running the red light.
Yeah.
Cars and movies do that all the time, because the streets blocked off. But I just thought it was weird they didn't show him actually get arrested. Because I can't imagine this Victor fella getting arrested by a beat cop for running a red light.
Well, yeah, I think there's
fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Anyway,
go ahead.
Small thing.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about the gun in each hand bullshit. I hate in movies where characters hold a gun in each hand because if you know anything about guns, it's the dumbest thing in the world. You're so much more ineffective.
Well, at least it's better than the 2-sword thing, because 2 swords is like fucking ridiculous that anyone would say that's a fucking, you're better with a sword in each hand versus one. But anyway.
Again, nitpicky.
Yeah.
Brave of Arnold at this time in his career too is working through the accent to sound more what's the word I'm looking for? Coherent. So he did an accent on an accent, which is pretty
accent on an accent. But again, I don't think it really mattered because I don't think most American, well, it's in America, because I don't think, or maybe internationally at the time, I don't know, I could really tell an Austrian accent from a Russian accent. So as long it just makes sense, he's doing an accent in some sort of Europe area, even though Russia's like Asia.
I kept waiting to reveal like he's Austrian or German or something like that, but who grew up in Russia but never came. But you're right, no one gives a shit.
Now the bad guy in this one is from Georgia, and so like, do you think that's? I noticed this movie was like allowed to shoot in like Tiananmen Square or Moscow or
no, they weren't allowed. They went and did it shotgun. They weren't allowed to.
I don't know. Well, they're getting in the behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot of like onlookers looking at them and like when they're shooting, and Arnold's going up and shaking hands with doing like autographs with people and stuff. So I think they were aware they were there. I think because of the plot of this movie, I think they're like, oh, a Russian cop is the good guy, matches up with an American cop. I think that's probably why they let them at least shoot there, even though they said, oh, they might have said, oh, we wanted to like steal all our shots while we were there. I mean, it's partially true, but the behind the scenes stuff, you can clearly see like crowds are gathering. They know what they're doing.
Okay, because the trivia said the stuff they got there was like a 2-man crew with Arnold Schwarzenegger. They ran out.
They might have rolled out with that when the movie came out for America and say we didn't get permission, but I think it's because of the plot. They thought that Russia, signed off on it because it's also because the bad guy's from Georgia, not also a fellow Russian or something.
Do you have any other notes on this bad boy called Red Heat?
Well, I have some of the not necessarily about the movie itself, but
I'm not talking about the Russian Ukraine thing, dude.
I wasn't gonna go there. I'm not that fucking dumb. Anyway, some other okay. Well, I guess in general, what'd you think about Red Heat? How would you rank it?
Oh, I give it 2.5-star movie.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 2.5-star buddy movie too. It's
okay.
I wouldn't recommend it. 3 stars I would recommend. I couldn't recommend this to anybody as a buddy action comedy or just as a movie.
Okay. Well, I would probably give it 3 is kind of for me is kind of up or down, but I might even give it 3.5. I did enjoy it. I didn't think it was boring. I thought it was, it's got a lot going for it. It just is really, there's, as far as buddy action comedy goes, I wouldn't even call it a comedy. It's very serious. There's no wink, wink, Arnold kind of one-liner kind of stuff. And James Belushi fucking blows. So in it, and so yeah, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be a strong recommendation, but maybe if you're into the kind of movies, it's not boring.
Yeah, I mean it's not boring, but it still sucked. And then actually, I liked it less the more we kept having our conversation and going through my notes. It's like, oh yeah. I think this movie sucks.
That sucks. That sucks. That's the more you think about it, the more it's lame.
Yeah.
Well, last week actually, I wanted to mention, but I forgot. Video game adaptions of these buddy action comedy movies. I mean, there's not that many, but there has been a few of movies that we've even covered and stuff. Like there was a Men in Black for PlayStation 1, and there was a Lethal Weapon for Super Nintendo when Lethal Weapon 3 came out, I think. And then Bad Boys 2 had a video game release, I think PlayStation 2 or something. It was called Bad Boys Miami. The critics always hate all these games, but Red Heat actually had a video game adaptation for the Commodore in 88 or 89. Are you familiar with that?
No, of course I'm not.
Well, are you familiar with the Commodore at all?
Of course. I know my video games, but I didn't know I'm familiar with the Red Heat version of it.
I kind of heard the Commodore. It was the computer, a keyboard you hook up to your computer back in the 80s and stuff. I looked at a commercial for a Commodore on YouTube. It was for $1,600 in 1989. Fuck, that's a lot of fucking money for a video game console in 1989.
Well, any brand new technology, if you're a first adapter, is crazy freaking expensive. That's why the NES. Yeah. The NES, I think, was cheaper than Atari system.
NES was $100 in 88 or 89. So this was 16. So this is 16 times the amount. So PlayStation 5 or 6 or whatever,
they weren't designed by 16. They weren't designed for the masses. They were designed for the hobby elite, good jobs.
Elites, hobbyists, nerds that work at Microsoft want to play video games at night. Well, I watched a little the playthroughs on it's a very slow beat 'em up game, just a side scroller, but it does actually follow the movie pretty well. Where you start out the sauna naked, just beating guys up and stuff. So if you're a Red Heat enthusiast, maybe check some of those out.
You get to play Belushi, or you just Arnold Schwarzenegger?
You just Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a very slow side scroller punch, beat 'em up game. Then but it does follow the movie and does have the background scenes and stuff. Versus Lethal Weapon, I looked at that. It was just it looked like they just kind of rebranded Darkman or Batman video game and just just change the characters' heads or something.
Yeah, it's called reskinning. They do it all. Most of these things are reskinned, rushed out.
Reskinning, yeah. This one actually they tried to create an actual Red Heat video game, which is kind of rare for the buddy action comedy genre. That and I think steam was one of my notes. Was just steam because there's so much fucking steam in this movie. The bus thing, just steam everywhere. But there is a Danny Trejo movie called Badass. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm familiar with the Badass, the Black Exploitation.
No, it's not the Mario Van Peebles movie about his dad. This one's called Badass. It actually spawned a bunch of sequels, like probably direct to DVD or whatever sequels with Danny Glover. But it was like Danny Trejo and Charles S. Dutton is the bad guy, and it was did well for I don't even got a theatrical release, but the ending is a bus kind of showdown between Danny Trejo and Charles S. Dutton. They just used stock footage from Red Heat.
Oh, really?
And inserted them in it. So, yeah. So if you ever want to, see the bus chase again and with different characters, check out Badass.
I thought the climax sucked. Like, good idea to put him in buses, but they don't do anything fun with it. Just shots of buses driving, and then the guy dies unceremoniously. He just gets hit by a train. He's like, ah.
They destroy a lot of Chicago, or like kind of like Blues Brothers style. I don't know. That's kind of fun.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad someone's having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Any ideas on what we're going to do next?
Well, you had a couple ideas. You texted me beforehand, but I know we still haven't gone to like a few big ones too. Like we still haven't done. What's that?
What are the few big ones you're talking about? Big boy.
There's Rush Hour, Midnight Run. There's also Running Scared from the 80s with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines, which is a big one for me, at least growing up, those two dynamos. But you also mentioned a movie called Rancho Deluxe that my dad was a big fan of, that I'm kind of curious to review and see, but I'm not sure how big of an action movie it is.
I can't believe we haven't done Rush Hour. Let's do that next.
Rush Hour?
Yeah.
All right, now for Rush Hour.
All right, we'll do Rush Hour then.
All right.
I hate to do this, but
here we go.
Well, you were talking about. Well, it's hard because I told you I made a promise you we weren't going to talk about politics and shit anymore. Because
you made that promise a long time ago. You never followed through.
Buddies on buddies. It's just this one is literally about Russia.
Well, you're going to cut me off before I can answer anyway.
I'm not going to. I don't cut you off. We have a time limit. It's just that we spend so much time talking about the movies, we don't get to talk about the real shit we want to get into.
Are you going to respond with your opinion, or you just want to let me go on and then you cut me off or not say anything? Are you going to say what you think too?
Well, in a lot of these cases, like when we're talking about this stuff, it's more of an interviewee thing. So my opinion would be editorializing.
Oh, you're the interviewee. You're interviewing me, and
I'm the interviewer. You're the interviewee.
Oh yeah, so you don't have to actually say anything. You said let me roll. Why do you do? I think you want to call me out on stuff. That's your thing. You're like, I'm gonna get him to expose. I'm gonna expose his crazy fucking views, which I
call you out to who? Call you out to who? Who am I calling you out to? Who am
the audience of 60 viewers or what the fuck you get?
Besides, you're not one who's shy with your view. You would tell anybody.
I'm not shy. I just would like you to chime in too, but you don't seem to want to do that.
I don't hold a lot of views. I'm not a view holder. I don't have.
Isn't that kind of lame? Just to not know anything about anything, but you just try to call people out.
I'm not calling you out though. I'm just trying to ask you your opinion.
All right, ask me a question. What
Why are you if you're so scared about it, maybe that's
I'm scared about it. I've always answered your questions. You never
no, because I'm going to ask you a question. Oh, you're going to ask me, you're going to corner me again. All I'm asking you is
you cut me off every time. It's annoying. When I'm about to answer, that's your big gag. Anyway, ask me your question.
You know what?